think for United Way of York Region, the issues for the South Asian community would be pretty comparable to most newcomer immigrant communities, and then there's a couple of distinctions. I think the first three issues that come to mind, particular for the South Asian community, the importance of economic independence, getting a job, finding housing, getting food on the table. The second issue that we see at United Way for the community is how do you integrate into the community and the culture? And that could be volunteering, participating in your neighborhood, coping skills, a whole range of supports on how you connect with your neighborhood. And the third issue which we see within the South Asian community, it's helping youth grow up strong. Just like any newcomer community, there's always that time when the youth that are born here or raised here and the parents who may have immigrated begin to experience the growing pains.
Between 14 years of age and between about 18, 19 years of age, that's the time most critical for any young person. That's the time when they develop their personalities, they develop their identities, and I think that's the time where parents protect them the most.
When I got my ears pierced, my parents, my dad freaked out. He thought I was gonna become this drug user. He thought I was gonna go get tattoos. He thought I was gonna skip school, get drunk, all this stuff. And what ended up happening actually is I was an honor roll student in high school.
Many people who migrate and come and settle down in the country, on an average come with 2 children. And these children are normally teenagers or younger because they want to do their schooling in Canada. When they go to the school, they're sort of confronted with two types of life really. At home, they're supposed to help the parents in the settlement process. If they are capable of working, they are expected to raise money through their jobs or whatever means and assist the family in settling down. When they go to the school, they've got your counterparts, the white Canadians or the first generation Canadian born South Asians who have different cultural values, different outlook to life.
I think it starts with educating parents. So we need to sit parents down, especially parents of newcomers to the country that are just coming to Canada from various locations around the world. We need to sit down and explain how society works here as opposed to how it is back there. We need to figure out sort of a median between which the youth can be a youth and the parents can still instill their cultural values and their discipline and ethnicity and all of that downloading that occurs at home, but the youth still need to feel free.
They're worried about their education, they're worried about their careers, and they have to spend a lot of time doing those things, and at the same time we expect them to come to the Gurdwara and learn the teachings of the Guru and Harmeet Sikhs as well. So there are a lot of challenges for the youth. It's not easy, but I think what if the parents are being good role models, it's easy for the youth to follow them. I think the biggest problem we have, like any other society, any other community these days in the society, is you don't find too many good role models in any community.
What kind of role models do they have? Is it okay to have role models, a gangster being a role model? What kind of music do these South Asian youth listen? Are they influenced by that kind of music? How do we explain that there has to be other social consciousness around music? Do they even understand the history of rap movement, how rap originated, how hip-hop originated?
What is disheartening is that we're finding kids starting into the drugs as early as grade 8 and 7, and so that has been a real issue for both me as well as the communities and families.
Well, I started getting involved in the community through youth programs, particularly when in the early 90s the Tamil youth were classified as gangs in newspapers, in the school system, in the police, and so on. So we felt like there's two needs. One, there was definitely a problem of emerging gang violence within the Tamil community, but it was a very small number. But there was also a problem of stereotypes and stigma that was being created by the system.
We need to make sure our youth within the South Asian community itself get along with each other. That needs to happen first. If we as a community can stick together, we can show everybody else, you know what, we're a community that stands by each other. Then we can start making reform with other agencies. Because right now, if we go into an agency and say, hey, I want to help South Asian community. I want to ease the tension between the Islamic community and Sikh community. Whatever for reasons that our forefathers fought for, but we're for some reason in Canada still fighting it. So if we go to an agency and approach them and say, listen, I want to do this program, I want to do this event, they're going to turn around and say, well, why shouldn't you rectify that problem first before you bring us in to rectify that problem?
We don't claim to know all the issues. We need the youth, we need to work with the youth to develop what these issues are and get the youth to help us how to address those issues.
The first generation is more involved in stabilizing, establishing a house, roof, and it's really the second generation who has the Canadian values, who has a better understanding of what the issues are, that they, I feel, are the ones who are going to make the difference.